Humanity had entered the galactic stage with optimism, but it was met with derision. The Turvak, the eldest and most dominant species in the Galactic Council, laughed openly as the human delegation introduced itself. With their towering frames and centuries-long lifespans, the Turvak viewed humanity as little more than an amusing footnote in the vast history of the cosmos. Your people, the Turvak Chancellor sneered, are but sparks in a storm, brief, flickering, and inconsequential. What can you offer us that we have not already perfected? Ambassador Kale stood among the human delegation, his shoulders squared despite the scornful glares of the gathered aliens. Their mockery cut deep, but he refused to show it. Humanity had faced ridicule before, by its own kind, on its own world. This was no different. The council chamber buzzed with whispered insults. Short-lived. Primitive. Desperate. The words echoed in the hall, carried by species far older and more advanced than Earth's fledgling explorers. Kale's team, young and inexperienced compared to their counterparts, exchanged uneasy glances. But Kale simply waited for the noise to subside. You claim humanity has nothing to offer, Kale said, his voice steady, but you've made one mistake, you've underestimated us. The Chancellor's smirk deepened. Then prove us wrong, human. Show us the worth of your brief lives. The opportunity to rise above the ridicule came quickly. The Council presented a challenge, a test they believed would crush humanity's spirit and confirm its inferiority. The Turvak revealed an ancient artifact unearthed from one of their dead colonies, a relic inscribed with symbols from their long-forgotten ancestors. For centuries, the Chancellor explained, this artifact has eluded even our greatest minds. Its language, its purpose, all remain a mystery. If you wish to prove your worth, decipher it. The Council erupted in laughter. The challenge was impossible, and they all knew it. If the Turvak, with their vast resources and ancient knowledge, could not unravel the artifact's secrets, what hope did humanity have? Kale accepted without hesitation. Give us the artifact, he said firmly. We'll show you what we're capable of. The Turvak Chancellor chuckled. You've just signed your species' humiliation, Ambassador. Back on the human ship, Kale met with his team. They think this is a game, he said, placing the artifact in the center of their research station. But this is an opportunity. If we can solve this, we won't just earn their respect, we'll prove that our so-called inferiority is their greatest miscalculation. The team worked tirelessly, poring over every detail of the artifact. Kale's confidence was infectious, but doubt lingered in the minds of many. The Turvak had centuries to decipher this enigma, yet humanity had only weeks. The odds were impossible, but Kale believed in the one thing that had always set humanity apart, their relentless drive to defy expectations. As the ship sped through the void, the laughter of the Council still echoed in their minds. But it only served as fuel. They were determined to turn that laughter into silence. The artifact lay in the center of the room, its surface a maze of symbols and patterns that seemed to mock the humans staring at it. It was cold and unyielding, as though carrying the arrogance of the Turvak ancestors who had created it. Despite the challenge, the human team wasted no time. Specialists from linguistics, cryptography, and archaeology gathered around, each bringing their expertise to bear on the mystery before them. The first step was to catalogue every symbol, every groove, and every detail. They used advanced imaging tools to scan the artifact, creating a precise digital replica. Linguist Dr. Marion Voss analyzed the symbols for patterns, comparing them to known Turvak dialects and languages of other species in the galactic database. Hours turned into days, and frustration mounted as no obvious connections emerged. What if it's not just a language? Dr. Voss suggested during one of their brainstorming sessions. What if it's a combination of language and mathematics? Something universal? Her insight reignited the team's efforts. Cryptographers joined forces with physicists, dissecting the artifact's structure for hidden numerical sequences. They discovered that the symbols seemed to align with specific frequencies of sound. With this breakthrough, they began experimenting with sonic interpretations of the script, generating tones and vibrations that could be tested against the artifact's material. Progress was slow, but humanity's greatest strength was its ability to collaborate. The team pooled their knowledge, building on each other's ideas, unafraid to make mistakes. Every failure brought them closer to understanding the artifact's secrets. It was Dr. Ravi Patel, a historian with a passion for ancient Earth cultures, who stumbled upon the connection that changed everything. While examining the artifact's symbols, he noticed their structure bore a striking resemblance to cuneiform scripts from Earth's Sumerian civilization. The realization was shocking. How could an ancient human language share similarities with a Turvak ancestor's script? "We've been looking at this wrong," Dr. Patel said, excitement in his voice. "The Turvak script isn't entirely alien. It's built on principles that parallel our oldest languages. If we study Sumerian, we might be able to decode this." Skepticism gave way to cautious optimism as the team expanded their research to include Earth's ancient linguistic databases. Patterns began to emerge, linking the symbols to concepts of time, space, and warning. As they worked, they discovered the Turvak ancestors had embedded layers of meaning into their language, using a complex system of metaphors and allegories. The team's determination deepened. Exhaustion was a constant companion, but they pressed on, driven by the weight of the challenge. They were not just solving a puzzle, they were proving humanity's worth on the galactic stage. Finally, after weeks of relentless effort, the first coherent phrases began to take shape. It was a message, fragmented but unmistakable. Humanity had done what the Turvak had failed to do. They had found the key to unlocking the artifact's secrets. The first words they translated sent a chill through the room. The artifact wasn't just a relic, it was a warning. The Turvak ancestors had left behind a desperate message, written in their now-dead language, recounting the rise of their once glorious empire and the hubris that led to its fall. The symbols, when deciphered, described a catastrophic event, a miscalculation in their most advanced technology that unleashed devastation across their colonies. The deeper the team delved, the more they uncovered. The artifact spoke of a great experiment, a harnessing of energy so immense it defied understanding. It had been their crowning achievement, a testament to their mastery of the universe. But their ambition had outpaced their caution. The energy source became unstable, collapsing into a chain reaction that consumed entire star systems. The Turvak ancestors, unable to stop the disaster, had written the warning as a plea for future generations to remember their folly. Dr. Voss read the translation aloud, her voice trembling. "We thought ourselves gods. We were wrong. If you find this, heed our mistake. Do not repeat it." The room fell silent. The weight of the revelation was staggering. The Turvak, the very species that mocked humanity's supposed inferiority, were descendants of a civilization brought low by its arrogance. They had forgotten their own history, lost in the sands of time, while the artifact carried the memory of their greatest failure. Ambassador Kale called for an emergency transmission to the Galactic Council. The discovery was too important to delay, but it also posed a challenge. Would the Turvak accept the truth? The artifact threatened to shatter their pride, forcing them to confront the fact that their ancestors had been as fallible as any other species. When the Turvak Chancellor appeared on the screen, his expression was one of annoyance. "Have you solved your little puzzle, human? Or have you come to admit defeat?" Kale spoke calmly but with conviction. "We've deciphered the artifact. It's not just a relic. It's a warning left by your ancestors, a warning they hoped would save their descendants from repeating their mistakes." The Chancellor's eyes narrowed, his arrogance faltering for the first time. "Impossible. Our ancestors were perfect. They left no warnings because they had nothing to regret." Kale didn't flinch. "The artifact proves otherwise. They warn of a catastrophic event, an experiment that destroyed countless lives. It's written in their language, a language you've forgotten. But we uncovered it, and we can show you." A tense silence followed. Other council members murmured, their curiosity piqued. Some looked at the Turvak with suspicion, while others appeared troubled by the implications. "You expect us to believe this translation," the Chancellor finally said, though his voice wavered. Kale didn't respond with anger. Instead, he held up the artifact, its symbols glowing faintly in the light. "The truth isn't something you can deny forever. It's here, and it's undeniable." The Turvak's confidence had cracked, but whether they would accept the truth remained uncertain. Humanity had done their part. Now, the weight of the revelation rested on the Turvak themselves. The Galactic Council chamber was tense as the humans presented their findings. The Turvak Chancellor sat rigid, his arrogance visibly shaken. The artifact's translated message was displayed for all to see, and its implications hung heavy in the air. Other species watched closely, their interest shifting from the humans' perceived inferiority to the weight of their accomplishment. Kale stepped forward, his voice steady. For centuries, this artifact sat in your archives, unread and misunderstood. Your ancestors left it as a warning, a testament to their mistakes. And yet, you dismissed it as meaningless because you had forgotten your own history. The Chancellor's voice was clipped, but the uncertainty was clear. You claim to understand a language that even we cannot. Why should we trust your interpretation? Kale met his gaze, unwavering. Because we've done what you refused to do. We looked beyond ourselves. We studied the connections between your ancestors' language and our own ancient scripts. We combined science, history, and collaboration in a way that you, for all your advancements, never thought to attempt. The room was silent, the weight of the truth pressing down on everyone. Other council members began to murmur amongst themselves, some casting accusatory glances at the Turvak. Humanity's achievement was undeniable, and the cracks in the Turvak's facade of superiority were widening. Kale continued, his tone firm but not unkind. This isn't just about your ancestors' warning. It's about what we do with it. They wanted you to remember their mistakes so you wouldn't repeat them.